Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing civilization restarts again, but we're going to be inside of Siberia, West Siberia, and we have a lot of things to get to today. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's begin. First things first. These guys, they're going to start their expansion. Not only they going to take this place, they're also actually going to annex this little country. Now, basically, if you're new to the series or if you haven't seen this episode where we discuss all this, these two hate each other. Those guys are an extension of these guys. They love these guys. They're basically another version of these guys. Anyways, these guys finally decide to take the affirmative action. They annex all of that land, and in response, these guys are going to expand a little bit too. They're going to capture all of that, and basically, this is going to lead to a war between these two. So, taking a look at this war, um, if you're wondering why you didn't see me drawing the borders there, that's because I found out that this entire thing I made had no volume. Like, you couldn't hear my voice. My mic crashed. That's gonna make me crash out a little bit. So I crashed out. So I now have to restart. Anyways, yeah. So these guys, they launched the invasion over here, and they actually go really like damn, bro. Like, y'all could have chilled a bit. Y'all could have started maybe like over here, but not. They go straight for that capital. These guys, in response to that, they do two things. Firstly, they launch a little invasion over here, which is full of people who really hate these guys. So that's very successful. Like, these guys, they're really hated in this region, so that's already successful. Secondly, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but these guys invade the outskirts of the capital, which is pretty bad. However, these guys, they go ahead and they capture the rest of the capital, but to their shock, these guys actually don't stop fighting. And these guys are running out of resources because both these guys, they're pretty isolated from the rest of the world, and they're up here. They have no resources. So both agree to a peace treaty. It's pretty bad for both of them, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, let's. So these guys, nothing really changes, but these guys are gonna have to lose this part, and also a lot of the tribes around these guys are now starting to realize they should probably become countries too. So let's add those guys in. They're gonna be over here, over here, over here, over here. So let's go put them in, just like that. Oh, okay, just like that. They're now inputted. So yeah, as you can see in the peace treaty, these guys, they had to pull back from there. These new guys exist now, and these guys and all these guys. So yeah, next. I want to save this color right here for a little bit, just for symbolic measure. Okay, basically, the Mughals and the Mughals and these guys, the Shanghai people, they want to sign an alliance, just like the red team, the blue team have their alliances. And this is because basically the blue team is an enemy to both of them, and both these guys are kind of sick of both the blue team and the red team because for Shanghai, the blue team used to even have Saigon, so like they were even on the border of Shanghai, but now they've kind of pulled back from there. But they have all of this water, and Saigon is like nothing. If blue team really wanted to invade Shanghai, they would definitely just invade Saigon, capture all that, then invade Shanghai. But yeah, they're a threat, and also they control this thing, which is the only way that Shanghai can go to the rest of the world to export, and they're currently the third biggest exporter. So exporting is a big part. Exporting is literally 80%, not 80, 95% of their economy is currently GDP literally comes from exporting right now. And that's really bad because one, it's not diverse, but also two, they're falling from the third spot really rapidly. They're about to be at the fourth spot. And yeah, they're about to fall behind Crimea. Now, right now, they're third and they're behind the blue team and the red team. But Crimea is about to pass them up. And Crimea, 30%, only 30% of the economy comes from exporting. So, like, exporting isn't even a big market there. Imagine what would happen if they upped that to maybe, like, wanting to achieve 50% of their economy from exporting. And their exports aren't going up. That's not why these guys are falling. These guys, oh, oops. That's not why these guys are falling. These guys are falling because their exports are going down. Not that Crimea is going up. Crimea is remaining stable. These guys are going down because people don't want to buy from them anymore because it's so expensive. And also because it takes so long to arrive because like the blue team really blockades all of this. They also can't just go around. Like, if they go through here, that's all blue team land as well. They go through here, that's a blue team ally, which is Indonesia. Through here, Indonesia. Through here, basically they're really cooked. They would have to go all the way over here, all the way across that, all the way around the Americas, which they don't even know exists yet. Then all the way over here just to end up in the same position. They don't even know that the world exists after this line. So like, yeah, they're really cooked. But there is one way to fix this. As you can see, there are two little pieces of land that connect these two areas. One is colonized by the Mughals, this one, and one by the Bengalis. So Shanghai devises a devious scheme, a devious, dubious scheme. And that scheme is, what if we ally with one of these guys? We now basically their first option is the Bengalis. However, they can't really do it because one, Bengali is really isolationist. They don't want to be in an alliance with anybody because they used to be one with the blue team, and then the blue team they got invaded by the Mughals, and the blue team did nothing to protect them, and now they're really isolationist. Like they had a whole civil war because of that. But also they're like really broke and they're kind of dead. They're currently fighting a war in Sri Lanka to maintain all of this. They just fought a really brutal war with their own soldiers inside of Somalia, which go watch the previous video if you missed that. And they're also still fighting that actually. Oops. Um they also are spending way too much to maintain this colony so they can say that they have an overseas colony inside of Australia. And they kind of forgot about this. They haven't really like developed it. And even in their own country there's protests happening really badly. Like they're cooked. The people really like this government more than the other one, but that doesn't mean they support it that much. Second option, and the obvious option, is the Mughals. However, there's a problem with them as well. They're currently going through a civil war. Yeah. Oh, so this thing that's inside of this like little thing, they are the rebels, and they are currently trying to depose the main government and take complete control. Now, this main government literally came from a civil war that was from another civil war, from a military coup that was triggered by the Shanghai because they went to war with the original government and they captured like all of this, and that led to military militias kind of joining in. People got sick of the old country. Go watch that video. It's a long story, but basically, yeah, people got sick of the country and how they were dealing with Shanghai's invasion. So, military general took to the streets. He gathered a bunch of support. He invaded. He captured all of this. One group split off from him. That was this group, I think. I'm pretty sure. Then those guys captured the entire north, including the country's capital. Military general has been pushed over here. Also, these guys are really hated by the blue team because the blue team went to war with these guys, and these guys took this land from the blue team directly, and then these two pieces from a blue team ally who's now a red team ally. Confusing, I know. But the blue team really hates them, and the blue team is all of this. So, like, if the blue team hates you, you're kind of cooked. The blue team has sanctioned these guys into the ground. And also, the elites of this country can't leave the country, because if you leave to, like, for example, these guys, if you leave to Persia, blue team is invading that. They're sanctioning Persia into the ground, and then they're going to invade it. Like, blue team has made it impossible for these guys to escape. They're really worried. So Shanghai kind of approaches them with a deal, which also, let me just give these guys a capital, because I forgot to do that. So the main government, their capital is going to be right here, just across from the rebel capital, which is also the actual capital. So yeah. Anyway, Shanghai kind of approaches them, and they're like, basically, okay. Another thing you need to know: the rebels, the blue team likes them a lot because they're posing a blue team enemy. Basically, once the rebels inevitably win, because that's what it's looking like right now, the blue team will pour in a lot of money to develop this country because the Mughals have a ton of resources, like hella resources, but they can't use it because it's not developed and because they're sanctioned into the ground by the blue team and their alliance. And the red team, because the red team is allies with these guys, and they really hate the Mughals. And they're the only red team ally in all of Indian subcontinent, so they basically dictate the red team's look on things here. So yeah. So these are sanctioned by both of the big teams. And their economy is like dead. Like it's going down. Their economy is so isolated from the rest of the world that like 4 episodes ago when there was a global recession that made the entire world's economy tank, their economy was the only one going straight. Because everyone else's was like dead, it really didn't matter to them. Because they weren't affected. They were that unaffected that the entire world was going like this. They were going like this. But now that the world is back to going like this, they're still going like this. And you can see how bad it's getting for them. Like look at the space in between. And so basically Shanghai approaches them. They're like, you know how the blue team is willing to like invest a bunch of money and develop all of your stuff once the rebels win? How about we do that for you? Because we don't like the blue team either, and we don't like the rebels. How about we develop your land? And especially we develop this thing. We make it a city for your elites that only elites can live in. We make this a city the only elites can live in, and we make it your new capital so you can safely from there you can run the rest of the country, and also maybe some of them can come to our capital, Shanghai. And actually the military general that's the president, actually he gets a personal invite. He has like really good houses being made for him, and they're like, come live here. Basically there's negotiations. These guys say that they can develop, Shanghai says they can develop all this because they're rich too. They have $3 trillion GDP, nowhere near the blue team who currently has 115. Nowhere near the blue team, but still really good. And also they would get this little piece of land, which would, I guess, kind of boost their GDP because they wouldn't have to pay as much to the blue team to go through here. That's all saying that the Mughals agree to this, though. So Mughals, they do agree to this, and they're like, you know what? Fine. That is a good idea. That is a darn good idea, bro. That is a good idea. So yeah, they agreed to that. That's that. They agreed to it. This is the color I decided the alliance would be. Let's just put that marker over here. And now, Shanghai, over the course of the next few episodes, will be building a capital the for the what's their name? What's these guys' name? Mughals, yeah. They will be building a new city for the Mughals right here. Also, the Mughal president, military dictator guy, he is actually going to leave and he's going to go live with his family. He's going to take his family and they're all going to go live in the Shanghai capital. Meanwhile, a lot of elites are going to start moving to this new city soon over the next few episodes as this is being built. Now, the thing is, Shanghai now knows this actually confirms the blue team's worst nightmare over here, which they kind of knew. They knew Shanghai was drifting really far from them, but this is basically the point of no return. The alliance with the Mughals finally proves to the blue team that, you know what, Shanghai has made their choice. They don't want to be near the blue team in any diplomatic way. They're done with the blue team. And it's really, this confirms that Shanghai no longer is staying with the blue team, and now they are an enemy to the blue team. So blue team officially closes all their ports for Shanghai boats, just like they did for the Mughals, and they sanction Shanghai as well. Within 4 months, the Shanghai GDP decreases to $500 billion. Comparable to, you know what? You know what this is comparable to? This is literally comparable to this little country. This little country. Actually, this little country has more GDP now than the entirety of Shanghai. Shanghai has 500 billion. These guys have a trillion. 1 trillion. This small little country, they don't even have a coastline. Because you want to know why? Because they're in the middle of the red team and the blue team. That's why. But still, Shanghai is dying, and they've put all their eggs in one basket. If they cannot develop this city and get this new port thing in the Mughal area, they're cooked. They're genuinely cooked. This entire country is collapsing. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Let's now move on to the really important part of the episode, right here. The Mughals. Not the Mughals, the Mamluks. If you remember last episode, they were invaded brutally by the Ottomans, which is a red team ally, and the red team did nothing to protect them, so they left the red team alliance. They're kind of thinking about it right now. That's why this is like this. Basically, they start globalizing their stuff, and they start trading with the blue team again, because now they're not in the red team alliance, kind of technically. And they open all of this, and that taste of freedom that the people get after blue team stuff starts flying in, they basically want to speed this up. The government wants to go slow with opening themselves to the rest of the world. The people are like, no, let's just open it. Let's go in a full-on alliance with the blue team and everything. Full-on oppose the red team. No more middle ground even. No more even leaning towards the blue team. We're fully blue team. And yeah, that is honestly not a good idea. I'm going to be honest. But the people get what they want. And a civil war begins. It begins literally from the blue team itself. like the blue team's the little thing they have on their border. It begins from that. It's that's crazy. Why is that thing not in an alliance? It's a blue team ally. Why is it not in an alliance? You know what I'm saying? Let's put this thing in an alliance real quick with the blue team. There we go. Anyways, so yeah, militias begin forming. A lot of military leaders also begin supporting this, and basically, there's a march that's organized, and basically a big rebel town right over here, big anti-government town, is actually taken by the rebels, and they organize an event known as the March, where they literally will march to the capital, overthrow the government, and capture the rest of this land. So it's currently in places that are now controlled by the rebels. It's actually hell on earth for the people who are living there, because rebels do not play, bro. They're just killing everybody there. That's a part of the main government. Eventually, they capitulate most of the country. These guys are kind of isolated from the rest of the Mamluks, so they're not really affected by the thing, and they're thinking of just breaking away. Which, as these guys march, they capture the capital, and right when the capital falls, the leader is, I think he's a military leader also. I think he came to power from a military coup. I think that's what actually that military coup actually made these guys become red team allies because before they were blue team allies. So that's really ironic that now another military coup is making them blue team allies again. Anyway, with the capture of that, the rest of this is just desert. So it falls. There's no real opposition to the rebels' power. So the rebels they quickly take to the streets. They capture other major cities that are left. And as this is all happening, these guys they're going to declare their independence. They're going to secede from the Mamluk country, and they're going to join the red team, kind of, not really. Like they're going to let's make them a little bit more orange. They're going to declare their independence. They're going to become a new country, and this new country is going to be very heavily red team favored. They're going to support the red team a lot. Actually, they're going to join the red team alliance as well. Day one, they already joined the red team alliance. This thing, they're not even the rebels aren't even thinking about it, so we can just get rid of that. And also, the capital is also going to get moved for the first time in Mamluk history. It's going to be moved into this little semi-autonomous zone for the first time in Mughal history, in Mamluk history. That's going to really show they're getting really close with the blue team, and instantly they're going to apply it for a blue team alliance. A blue team actually divides up their alliance based on the region of the world. Like they have a different alliance for the countries here, for the countries here, countries there, countries here. So they're actually going to join the African one. Obviously, they can't join the other ones. It was actually a thing like only the blue team does this. No one else does this. I don't know why. Anyway, they're going to apply to join. Let's see if that gets accepted by next episode. We'll see. But basically, this finally launches the red team blue team war that we've been waiting for since last episode. If you don't remember, there was a war up here where the blue team secretly invaded the red team, and the red team there's a boat heading here carrying that message that they were invaded and they lost their Siberian colony. And today, finally, it has just crossed the blue team and has now entered Qatar. Now, basically, the blue team command of Siberia, the entire Siberian command, which is headquartered here, they did not want the main blue team and the main red team to know about this because they knew that would lead to a full-out war. The red team command for Siberia, they wanted the red team to know. They were like, "No, we just lost our colony. We want the red team involved, the main red team as well." So yeah, red team realizes that they were invaded. They basically blame the blue team. They're like, "So you just let us get invaded by your troops and you didn't even do anything." And the guy who ordered the invasion was a big military general of yours. Blue team gets really scared. They're like, "No, no, no, no." But it's no use, and the red team launches the invasion into the blue team. This marks the final war of today's video. Firstly, so as we're doing this is the final event of today's video. But this also marks hostilities beyond comprehension. Y'all do not know, bro. Last time we had this war, the entire global economy crashed. I'm pretty sure it was at like 100 trillion last time we had this, like the entire global economy, and it went to like 50 trillion. Actually, last time we had this, the red team's economy was at 100 trillion, 110, something like that. Then it went to 60 trillion after the war. And then after the amount of pressure in the peace treaty that happened after that, I'm pretty sure they went to like 10 or 15 trillion, something like that. Currently they're at 15 trillion. So they're kind of recovering, but if they win this, they could get their money back. Now instantly the blue team tries to make peace because they're like they don't want to escalate this even more. But it gets escalated. It gets hella escalated because in support of the blue team, the rebels of Mamluk country that are now the real Mamluks, they declare an all-out war and they actually invade one of the biggest cities of the red team on the Red Sea. They invade that. Now it's all immediately it's like completely destroyed. But that's crazy. And also naval fighting now begins in the entire Red Sea between the blue team, the blue team plus Mamluks versus the red team plus Ottomans, I guess, technically, a little bit. So yeah, both countries' full alliances are not brought in yet, but it's looking like they might be. Uh, blue team and blue team and their Arabian Sea country friend, they basically blockade all of this, and then the blue team also blockades this to make sure no aid gets to the Himalaya country from the red team. Red team's capital is now also cut off from the rest of the world. It needs to go like this to get news out to the rest of the empire. Not looking good. I'm gonna be honest. If you remember, last time the blue team had a bunch of troops stored up here and then they invaded through here. So instantly the red team is going to pull an Uno reverse. They're going to invade first. And they're going to invade They're going to capture this entire thing almost immediately. And they're going to completely destroy the ports on here, like completely destroy them. And from here, the blue team is going to launch a major invasion up the canals, up the city streets into the blue team, into the red team. They're also going to launch one into the desert. It's going to be kind of successful, I guess. And yeah, it's not looking good for either country. I'm going to be honest. These two are also going to find out that now their countries are at full-on war, so they're going to fight a lot in the Arctic Ocean. Where else do the red team and the blue team border each other? Nowhere else, really. Just Siberia and the Middle East. Is that the only two regions where they have borders? Oh, and Africa, I guess, right here. Nothing's really going to happen there yet. But yeah, the blue team is going to try to do the exact same thing they did last time. They're going to build up a strong military and they're going to launch an assault. And they're once again going to land in Qatar. Except this time, as they're going down and they're entering and they're capturing the capital once again. This time, the red team is going to do something really unexpected. They're going to send their full force down. They're going to basically tell their soldiers, invade and capture the blue team capital and do not stop at nothing. A force of 5 million troops is sent down to capture a capital whose population is 10 million. Population, not defense troops. So yeah, that's sent down. And as they're going through already, by the point they land, from that 5 million, only left is 1 million. 1 million troops. 4 million were killed in naval fights. No, actually, 2 million are left. So 3 million were killed. And as they land and they march, by the time they enter the capital, only about 1 million is left. And they basically say, since you're capturing our capital, we're not going to stop until we capture yours. And the red team does it. For the first time in the history of civilization restarts, modern history, I'm sure like back when these two were the only countries, because they're like the oldest, back when they're the only two countries, they definitely had, the red team definitely captured the blue team capital multiple times back then. But in modern history, this is the first time. By the time they achieved this result, they only have 500,000 troops remaining. So from 5 million, 500,000. They lost they lost a lot of troops. The red team capital also falls alongside the entire Qatari region, and the blue team and the red team basically realize that they need to sign a ceasefire or else both their countries will be completely destroyed because both of them kind of don't really have capitals now. So both of them they agree to a ceasefire militarily at least. But fighting in the naval thing, like skirmishes between the two, continue happening in the naval thing. And yeah, so the red team and the blue team both pull out of each other's countries. Mamluks and the red team continue fighting with the blue team occasionally getting involved. The Red Sea is basically on lockdown, so the entire world's GDP is currently stopped rising and is kind of going down a little bit, stagnating. The red team, who was at 15 trillion by the end of this, is now at 5 trillion, so they've lost 2/3 of their entire economy. The red team was at 115 trillion, has fallen now to a measly 95, which is still number one by a very wide margin. Like they're very, very high up there. Like they're still number one, but 95. They lost a fourth of their entire economy in this war. This isn't even the full war yet. This is just a skirmish. So yeah, I hope you guys know what you're what's in store for you now. So subscribe, keep updated with the series. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.